Today I'm making synth trap beats for Toliver. Let's dive straight in. So we're going to be using a lot of synths today. I'm going to start off with just something generic from UndaSkore, and we're just going to find a chord progression that's going to instantly create a vibe, something that will fit Toliver's style. So a standard 4-chord progression, just working in the C minor scale, and then I've just copied the root notes a few octaves lower to give it a bit more depth. Next up, I'm putting this pluck stem from a cymatics pack in just to complement the chords that we already have. I think the pluck sample just adds a nice bit of texture to the progression. Anyways, moving on, we're going to put in a bell sound, something that we can process quite heavily, and just another sound to add to the texture of the melody. So with this one shot from cymatics, I'm just going to cut it short. Then I'll put some crystallizer on this again. And then we'll also put some supermassive delay on it, make it a bit more trippy. Now if we copy the one shot every bar, we're going to change the pitch of each one so it has a nice little progression to it. Finally, I want to add like a string stab, something that can come in to build a bit of tension, maybe before a hook or something like that, before a drop. As usual for this, I'm going to be using BBC Symphony Orchestra, my go-to for sort of orchestral sounds. And actually, if we throw a bit of shaper box on it, we might be able to make it a bit more weird and trippy. Okay, next let's move on to the drums. Generic trap for this, I just want to make sure it hits Metro Boomin style. So you can see I actually recorded in all the drum layers for this, and it just made it easier for me to figure out the right bounce to go with the chords essentially. So onto the 808, we're using the classic spins, nothing special about it, it just always sounds clean and is perfect for this sort of music. Cool, so we got a nice 8-bar loop now, and we can just start arranging it and figure out what else needs to be added. So for the intro, it'll just be the chords and the pluck, and then I want to have an auto filter sweep for the drop. Just always sounds good for an intro. So you can see we've got the auto filter, frequency is automated, and we've just got a curved line here. Just put a little siren sound in as well. I think the final element for this track is just a cool synth lead to come in and out and do some cool stuff. Let's just record it in and see what happens. So there's a few sections we got there that work. I'm just going to bounce it to audio and then just chop out a few things that we can just heavily process. This one came out pretty cool, but now let's make another beat using a Toliver Acapella as the foundation. So we've got this acapella. I've chopped it a little bit, taken out the bits I don't like, pitched it down 4 semitones so that we're working in D minor. And we're just going to use this pad from Analog Lab to create a chord progression.
I know that you're drunk. Tell me what you want after this club. You know you're nasty, Don't go out of my house and call a taxi.
Now I'm just going to mess about with inversions, layering some of the notes, and maybe trying a few different variations of the same progression.
I know that you're drunk. Tell me what you want after. I know that you're drunk. Tell me what you want after.
Okay, so I've got 3 variations of basically the same progression. The differences are minimal. Like for example, in this variation, the 3rd chord goes a higher octave instead of a lower octave. It just keeps the progression interesting. And in this green progression, the 3rd chord goes back to the D minor, and that's just because it matches the vocals better than doing the original way. Next up, we're going to add arpeggio, which always sounds cool when you've got a synth, so something basic. In fact, we'll just copy over the chord progression so that it matches. Again, a bit of crystallizer and the auto pan, keep it moving. So the acapella has a cool bit here where it builds up to a drop. So we're just going to work up to that, knowing we want to have it build up and then drop in line with the acapella. So for the build up section, we're going to use the Synthwave preset in Analog Lab, which has this really cool arpeggiated bass sound. So that's on the left hand side, and on the right hand side it has these deep strings. So we'll just record something in for the build up. So next for the drop, we're going to do another auto filter sweep. Again, it just makes it nice and easy to do a sort of transition. Let's just put in a basic kick snare pattern for this.
First, let me get that introduction. We on a long road to self-destruction.
And then for the second half of the build up, just before the drop, we'll use this little break just to add a bit more emphasis and a bit more rhythm. So now we've got this really cool intro build-up section that goes in tandem with the vocals. So we want the drop to hit as nice as possible, and to do that it's all about building the tension and then the release. So we're going to copy over the chord progression first of all. We'll have the arpeggio come in again at the right moment. Let's use this little one shot. A nice little vocal stab we can use as an emphasis. Before the drop, the drums were pretty straight. But post drop, I want to try some like drill drums instead to give a different sort of bounce and rhythm, and I think it will just keep it interesting instead of doing like boring slow trap drums. So what I've got is 2 different claps, and I've just alternated between the drill pattern and the trap pattern. Next up, we need a lot more perks and hi-hats to really fill it out, so I'm just going to use a bunch of different loops for this. Got 1 pan left, 1 pan to the right, 1 in the middle. It just really fills it out with different rhythms and sounds. So of course we need an 808 to tie it all together with the low end now. So the way I do this is just by matching it to the kick essentially. So wherever I see a kick, I'm just going to add an 808 note as well. Thanks for watching. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe to see more videos like this. Otherwise, have a good one. Peace out.
I know that you're drunk. Yeah. Tell me what you want after this club. You know you're nasty, Don't Uber out of my house and call a taxi. First things first, let me get that introduction. We on a long road to self-destruction. You was so in love, you weren't gonna tell me nothing. Let me get this clear, 'cause I had no idea. I feel like I did too much. Let's get naughty. I feel like I did too much. Yeah, let's party. First things first, let me get that introduction. We on a long road to self-destruction. You was so in love, you weren't gonna tell me nothing.